An independent woman who don't need no man.
You vainglorious buffoon.
Buffoon.
All I heard in my ear is Kevin Hart saying, "You gonna learn today."
Trisha, what is the force that causes objects to fall to the ground?
Girl, you better.
I know this because my titties are low thanks to gravity.
Yay! A personal anecdote.
Can we just also say we don't actually need gravity? But that's a different thing.
What do you mean by
I
that?
saw someone do this. Was this a TikTok? We were watching something where someone's like, we don't actually need gravity. We were watching this to me. Like, we actually don't need it.
What do you mean that we don't need gravity?
What if it was never invented?
Invented by who?
Sir Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton created gravity?
Whoever created gravity, someone did, but we don't actually need it.
There
Like,
was
we
a
could have
time
just
on
all...
there was a time on Earth before gravity existed?
Yes. Who created gravity, babe? Dan?
It was Isaac Newton, you're right.
You were in the
it.
right ballpark. Sir Isaac Newton perhaps first defined and discovered
Maybe-
gravity. He
What do you
didn't
mean we don't
invent
need gravity? I'm curious about that
We just
statement.
don't need it.
But like, what do you mean?
The moon doesn't have gravity.
It does. All bodies, all celestial, all bodies,
All
you
mass.
have gravity.
Anything with mass has gravity.
In fact, some would say you have a sizable amount of gravity.
What's that mean? I'm fat? You're calling me fat
Yeah.
now.
Weight limit exceeded. One person at a time, please.
Oh, that's fuck.
You just think that women should be equally represented in the decision-making fora of our nation. Maybe that's really just about having proper equality in a body that's meant to be representative.
Well, I do believe that women should have... I don't understand your question, I guess.
I guess you don't. That's pretty
I don't.
obvious, unfortunately.
Well, how about if you phrase it more clearly, instead of just insulting me? 99.9% of bricklayers are men. Should we have quotas for women?
Is bricklaying representative democracy?
That has nothing to do with the question. The question is if there's evidence of structural inequality and oppression because women aren't precisely represented at 50% in all professions at all levels, then why don't we have a conversation about having women represented in all professions at all levels? Why do we talk about the C-suite, for example? Why do we talk about politics and positions of power? Why don't we talk about it across the board?
Do you see how when Mr. Peterson had a statement, he had things that he could actually back up what he was saying? Where she kind of just had a tagline and then her back was against the wall, she started hurling out an insult. Notice that?
Just like, you know what? How many times you've gotten to a club into VIP for free when some ugly chicks had to pay full price?
Is that my fault?
No. I've asked how many times it happened before you go down that path.
I mean, plenty of times in Miami.
Exactly, but that's not fair, is it?
Well, please don't forget I'm not from here.
But that's not the point, ma'am. That's not fair, is it?
I also don't care about those things.
But so you only care about fairness when it doesn't benefit you.
I just don't go to clubs that often.
But that's not the point. I asked you, how many times you've gone to a club where you got in and free, where ugly chicks or less attractive chicks had to pay? And you know that's happened. You didn't say, excuse me, sir. Even though I'm attractive, I demand that you charge me full price. You're okay with the double standards that benefit you. But the ones you don't like, you just throw at the wind, you use sign language, shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right to deflect and dismiss guys who are normally intimidated by this thing. I'm not. I'm just challenging your positions. You're okay with it not being fair when it benefits you.
You don't want to get married at all? You don't want a family or children?
Yes, but in the future, but no now.
Well, you're 28, right?
Yes.
When do you want to have kids?
35 maybe.
Well, at 35, 90, from a biological standpoint, at 35 years old, around 90% of your eggs are gone. And your ability to bring a child to term comes down a lot.
I don't think so. Age is a number.
I mean, you can say you don't think so, but realistically speaking, your chances of having a child bringing them to term at 35, that doesn't work often, and it's very expensive.
I don't know. I want to enjoy my life, so I'm not ready.
She said she gonna be ripping and running for a few more years, player. Can't pull her out the game.
This is a day in the life of a childless woman. I wake up at 6 a.m. I remember that I have no kids to take to school, so I take an edible, masturbate, and go back to sleep. I wake up at 12:30 p.m. and get ready for a busy day of doing whatever the I feel like. I put on my most impractical and stylish shoes since I won't be chasing a child around the grocery store. I go to my fave spot in Paris to grab a croissant. I do a meditation sesh on the plane since I have no screaming kids, allowing me all the time in the world to become enlightened. The weightlessness of my existence has granted me superhuman powers. I teleport myself back home. Then I get ready for a night out with whatever hot guy I met on Raya that morning. I call up a babysitter and tell her that I don't need her since I still don't have kids. Now it's time for a workout, so I hit Mount Everest for a quick climb. I invent a time machine, go back in time, and kill Hitler.
Freeze, you bastard!
It's amazing what you can do when you have this much free time.
Now you see why the chick in the previous clip wanted to wait 6 or 7 more years before she started popping out some kids. Makes sense to me. She out there living her best life.
This is a PSA for all the men out there and all the boys who think they're men, but they're actually boys. This is gonna be the summer of canceling boys. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. If all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think it might not be us. It might be men. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas. Quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country. I am tired of dealing with trash men. If you want to mix in people like me and people like my friends who are go-getters, please don't mix us in with the Tatianas. If we find out that you are also talking to 5 Tatianas who have nothing going on, Houston, we have a problem.
I can tell even though that they are very successful, they are terrible at math. Because you and your friends are the common denominators. So you mean to tell me out of the millions and millions of men out there, it's not the handful, the couple of friends? All right. Blame away.
Because that's all guys want. All guys want is pussy. Swear to God.
What?
No. Let me rephrase that. Shitty men want pussy, and that's all they want from you. Hire guys that are worth more, that will benefit your life more. They're not just gonna want pussy from you, and that's a fact.
All guys want is pussy. What do you mean by that?
They ain't got that wop.
Got that wop.
Well, I want different qualities in a man. First, he should have no expectations from me.
Wait a minute. What about shakalaka boom boom? Or at least a little bit socky? How can I date you and not expect anything from you? Even this tissue, I expect it to wake me after I finish doing whatever it is that I am doing at the lower part of my body. Are you telling me that this tissue is more useful than you because it is a thing and I expect something from it? As a human being, I should expect a lot more from you. Are you telling me that you are that useless? From a scale of 1 to a pen without ink, how useless are you that I should not even expect anything from you?
Third, whenever he's out on an office tour, he should always take me with him.
Why should I take you around my workplace all the time? What are you, a printer or a briefcase? Are you going to vomit office papers or what? Oh wait, I forgot. I should not have any expectations from you. What kind of woman wants to be around her man's workplace always? A mental woman. That's who you, my friend, are mental.
Fourth, I will never cook for him because a woman's place is not in the kitchen.
If a woman's place is not in the kitchen, then why are women naturally hot like the kitchen? And why do women naturally have eggs in their body like the kitchen and oil in their body like the kitchen? And why do they naturally have milk in their body like the kitchen? And why do they naturally have extra meat on their body, if you know what I mean, like the kitchen? You better take your ass back to the kitchen. I joke, woman. I joke. I joke. I am joking. Please don't break my balls, woman. Your place is not in the kitchen. Maybe. But seriously, this woman, if you never want to cook for your man, then why don't you take your non-cooking ass to the jungle and eat only fruits there with, I don't know, jungle people who want to marry you, who don't require any cook, or I don't know, go back to 1532 where they probably don't have kitchens.
Fifth, I will never dance with him. Because I do not want him to lead. That is also very insulting for a woman.
Oh my God. What a brainless idiot. How is dancing with a man equals to insult to a woman? Maybe they should exchange her brain with a rat's brain. A rat might have more use for her brain. Idiot! Dancing with a man equals to insult. In which world?
Sixth, if he ever opens the door for me, I will leave him.
Alright, that does it. Woman, go and penetrate yourself because no man has time for your bullshit.
You guys ever hear somebody who keeps their dog inside all the time and they don't really let them out, and then they open up the door and that dog is gone, running away? That's what you're telling me this lady is about to do?
If he ever opens the door for me, I will leave him.
Oh man, I know he was being funny, but that analogy with women in the kitchen, oh man, don't hurt me. It was hilarious.
Is that for teenage boys now, they are so terrified of the consequences of putting a foot out of line. It's hard enough being a young teenager, working out how things are, working out how to do dating and all of that, without the terror that if you touch in the wrong place at the wrong time, you may find that your whole life is destroyed.
See, I
and there
like
is
that
far
terror.
too much. Well,
I like that.
As a
I
mother
think
of
that
a
men
teenage
should be
boy, I
frightened.
don't like
Really?
that
That's
terror.
the most
I do.
malicious
thing I've ever
That
heard.
is
I think that
awful.
men should be frightened
I think
to
you'd
touch
feel
women in a way
differently
that
if you
they're
were
not
if
comfortable
you were.
with.
But we're talking about
Yeah, but we're not talking
teenage
about.
years,
We're not talking
children.
about.
We're talking
yeah, but
about
it's an
young
interesting
children.
thing that you see. I would say that attitude actually is part of the problem too.
It
That
is.
is that's to me toxic femininity.
It is.
That is saying you should all be terrified, you men, if you put one.
Of assaulting.
Well, I think we all understand what sexual
What is
assault
an
is.
assault?
What Isabel's talking about is that young teenage clumsiness
really
in many
hard.
cases, which is now being recategorized as assault. Is that a problem?
It's not being recategorized as assault. It's always been assault. It's just we're finally talking about
I don't
it.
agree with that. But I do think it's really hard for a 16, 17-year-old boy now in this environment to know even how to start
they are all
having kind of some
terrified.
kind of physical relationship with a woman.
Those good boys are all terrified. I know that from talking to my son. He's just like, I'm just not going there. Is that healthy?
Yes, I
The
think
other
it is
point-
actually. I think it's better to not have a physical relationship than to have one that could ruin a woman's life.
But then how do they ever start?
Well, don't. If you're not 100%
Don't.
What?
sure,
Are we going
don't.
for-
We can have a bunch of neutered
Celebrate.
boys who
But
never
it's
had.
so obvious.
We actually
It's
do
sort
have
of
that.
like-
Gen Z is having far less sexual relationships
Yes,
than any
they
ever before.
are. It's true.
I'm glad that young man spoke up and pointed that out, because what we're seeing now is that people are starting to get into relationships later and later into life, which end up being getting married later and later, which ultimately means maybe that they're having kids later and later, or even choosing not to. So then you're going to look up and be like, well, what happened? These are some of the effects.
It's like we're the prize here.
Yeah.
not
Women are
you.
the prize.
Mhm.
Why is that?
I don't know. You just have to.
I'm the prize. I just don't know why.
Would you rather have the love of your life or the career of your dreams?
The career.
The career, okay.
Yeah.
Of your dreams.
Yeah.
Why? You don't want love?
I mean, love is good. Like, love is great. But at the same time, I feel like a career make me feel like I have more like
Doubt it.
A career can make you feel like you have a purpose in life, but that job and that paycheck will not hold you close at night, and winter is coming. So while she's holding on to that dream and you're holding on to that phone, go ahead and click subscribe, because I'm out of here.